What did you think before you came to the continent? What did you feel like the ladies were going to look like? And then when you got here, what did you actually see on the ground?
I think they looked exactly how I thought.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Now, people around me were saying stupid stuff like they went on the Google Maps and they walked around and looked at the women walking down the street, and all of them looked like they couldn't afford makeup or they didn't have on nice clothes. I'm like, dude, like you know, there's a rich class everywhere. I don't think their women look like these women with flies on their face and stuff like they try to make it seem. So I think they looked exactly how it looked, and I think at times they exceeded my expectations.
What about some of the misconceptions when you're growing up in Texas and in the Dallas-Fort Worth area that you were kind of taught about Africa that you found out was not true when you came here?
You'll get malaria. Everybody has HIV and they're poor and stupid. That's what they teach us.
Hi guys, welcome to Kengana. My name is Janita Maya and this is the Repat Podcast. Now we do have a special guest right here. A famous YouTuber. Can I call you a famous YouTuber?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
He's definitely famous.
Yeah, please introduce yourself to our viewers.
I'm Auston Holleman. I'm a world traveler from Dallas, Texas. You may have first known me from TikTok. My tone has changed a lot. I'm still the same. I still have the same beliefs, but I just know how to deliver it properly this time. So, yeah.
Okay.
My tone has also changed a lot since I first started. O'Shea Duke Jackson, Sacramento, California, African American. Glad to be back on the mother continent. And let's get into it.
Okay, O'Shea, take it away.
So, you know, I was one of the people that first saw Auston on in his early TikTok career. And at the time, brother Auston had, I believe, by the time I had found him, he had already at least been to Colombia and Brazil. But now Auston is doing a lot of damage, and I mean like getting a lot of views in the African market. You know, he's been to Kenya, he's now here in Uganda and Tanzania, and he's been putting out a lot of valuable content. So for those people who are in the diaspora looking to live in different places, I want to talk about, because he's recently come back from Kenya, he was in Tanzania. And I want to get his, basically his experience of which country does he believe that he would prefer, and then we'll talk about also how it, how the continent is different from some other places he's been: Thailand, Philippines, Brazil, things like that. So how does Tanzania or Kenya compare to maybe some of the places you've been to before?
I would say Kenya is closest to Brazil, Colombia, Thailand, and the Philippines.
Really?
Okay.
And Vietnam. As far as infrastructure, internet, availability of electronics.
Okay.
But Tanzania is closer to Cambodia.
Okay.
In Cambodia, and I love Tanzania, but it seems to be almost 30 years behind the rest of the world.
30. Why do you say it's 30 years behind? In what capacity?
Internet speed. I think the roads are further behind than that, though.
Wow.
Are the roads
There's a lot of dirt roads.
worse than the ones in Uganda?
Absolutely.
Really?
No. Ours is worse. Ours is worse for sure.
From what you've seen?
I don't know. That's a good question. Well, I think the ones that here are worse because of the type of soil that's here. But I would still say it's 30 years behind as far as most things. But I still loved it there.
What did you love about it?
I love the fact that I could be around all black people.
Okay.
And that was the first place that I found out about that. Just like Brazil was the first place that I found out that I could be around humble people that would treat me well and make me be able to be myself.
Okay.
So I think it was just the entry level. I think it would have been a similar experience in Kenya if I would have started there.
Okay. Let me ask you this, because in comparisons to here in Uganda, there is a big or a larger African American community in Tanzania, and we got to see. In fact, we responded to one of your videos a few weeks ago with Mark Meets Africa. So being a person from the diaspora, how was it, or how easy was it for you to link up with African Americans in Tanzania or people from the diaspora in Tanzania?
It was very easy, but I don't like them like that.
Not more. I mean, you don't like the diaspora, are you?
The majority of the expats that I met were kind of unprepared. They weren't very serious.
Okay.
It's just, I will say Asia has them beat on that. It seems like they lost that kind of that work value that they got from the United States. I think they lost that. I think they lost that a lot when they got to Tanzania.
So what's the difference between, let's say, some of the expats that you saw in Thailand or Philippines from America in comparison to those in Tanzania?
Like I said, they're way more prepared and they're way more structured on how they collaborate.
Okay.
In Thailand, in Tanzania, a lot of the stuff I recorded the whole time, I'm thinking I'm not gonna upload this.
Was it that bad?
It was that bad.
Well, I mean, but like, what did you see for the people that you were coming across in Tanzania? Besides being unprepared, can you go into more detail about so people don't make the same mistakes?
I'm trying to do this without calling anybody out. But,
okay.
Just not knowing their own. They call me for something.
Okay.
And then they don't know about. I asked them something about what they called me about.
Okay.
And they don't know about it. So if you wanted me to interview you about this room.
Yeah.
And then I asked you, when did you get that light bulb? And you don't have any idea. And it was, you got to be, or just goofing off the whole time. I'm constantly having to tell you to pay attention.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's a no-go.
It's a no-go.
Yeah.
Okay. What about, because obviously you really been hot on Kenya. I've talked about the offline, but what were some of the things that you saw in Tanzania? Although I know Swahili was, is English a big issue there for you, or how did you get around the Swahili and things like that?
English was not an issue, but English was perfect in Kenya. So in Tanzania, I would say it seemed like maybe 80% of people knew English.
Okay.
But I didn't feel the need to learn Swahili, but they seemed to be offended because I didn't.
Oh.
Which I should, because that's going to be 4 countries that speak Swahili I'm going to, so.
Yeah.
Okay.
I've looked at your YouTube channel and I see that there's a lot of dating between the two regions or the two countries. So what can you tell us about that? How has the journey been?
What 2 regions?
Tanzania and Kenya.
Oh. And what'd you ask me?
I see a lot of dating on your channel. And what's the difference between the two, like the ladies from Kenya or the ladies from TZ? How has the dating experience been? Has it been easy in one country and more complicated in the other country? How has it been?
It's more complicated in Tanzania because they're way more reserved. They're not. It's not that you have to talk to them. There's been a lot of women I talked to, and the entire time I was wondering if they actually wanted me to talk to them, and we went all the way there, but it still didn't seem like he was gonna go that far. So I'm asking my homeboy, like, did she know I was coming over here? She said she liked my photos, right?
Yeah.
Like, why is she acting so dry?
Uh-huh.
And in Kenya, it's the complete opposite.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, Kenyans are more liberal and more.
Yeah, I like that.
Open to life.
Maybe when I get older I won't, but right now I do.
But so what about the nightlife, man? I saw you doing, I was on your birthday stream for the live stream. I came in and dropped some money in there. Seemed like you had a really good nightlife in Dar es Salaam.
Yes.
Yasa, I would have been there tricking. You know me. But in comparisons to Kenya and the nightlife, I saw you was also going out there. For Americans, what city do you feel would give a better quality of nightlife, and why?
It depends on what you want. I like beach cities better. So Dar, I still prefer better, even though I think that Nairobi had more places and more of a variety of people from different parts of Africa.
Okay.
But I enjoy sitting by the beach or just being, I don't know, it's just something about the beach environment. So
okay.
I think that's why Dar was better for me.
Okay.
On that aspect.
Okay. And then what about like cost of living and things like that?
Tanzania is a lot cheaper, but
really,
I think so.
Oh, to you,
I think it's cheaper.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think most people say that too. Why'd you say really?
No, because like I've had most people say that Tanzania was more expensive for them. I don't know. Maybe they were tricking or something.
As far as housing or like food or
in general, I think they didn't go into specifics.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I still go with Tanzania. Yeah.
Tanzania. What about like I know the malls are better in Kenya.
Way better.
Tanzania malls is kind of like you said 30, 40 years behind.
Yeah, 30 or 40 years behind.
How did you so with that being said, if you're coming strictly from because you've been all over the world now, I think you've even been to more countries than me. Coming from the United States, which a lot of people are coming straight from, they're not going to these other places. Vietnam. Did you go to Vietnam?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So they're not going there. They're going strictly from like Dallas, Houston to Ghana or Dallas to Tanzania or Dallas to Kenya. And they're going to get a real big culture shock, right? Mm-hmm. And they had to choose between Tanzania or Kenya. Which one would you say for an American would they be more prepared for mentally?
Kenya, because it's the most developed. There's less dirt roads. There's Domino's Pizza there. there's recognizable things there. And it feels like, I even said in one of my vlogs, it feels like it's a first world country at times. And Tanzania is, from the mosquitoes to the flies, it feels like you're in a third world country because you're constantly getting bit by mosquitoes. So it's definitely a...
I heard you in the the episode you did for your channel, you were talking about being seen as a fellow black man. Which country would you say was more hospitable? Like, which country did you feel like, oh, these people actually received me as one of their own? They're nice to me. You know, they treat me well.
Tanzania. Yeah, I had more issues
I'm
with
sorry,
men.
I know what.
Oh, well, hold on, let's talk about this. You have more what?
I had more issues with men in Kenya.
Really?
I did in Tanzania.
Why?
Why do you think that was?
I don't know, but when they get drunk, they start tripping. they need 2 shots, and then it's an issue. And even the girls were telling me that like they always fight or something like that in Nairobi when they start drinking.
Okay.
Yeah.
But which club did you like better, like in your nightlife? You know, as far as going there and stuff.
In Nairobi.
Yeah, you like Nairobi or Dar es Salaam?
Oh, between both?
Yeah.
My favorite in Dar is Wavuvi. You know Wavuvi?
No.
You do?
No.
It's like a little beach club, but it's more of a nighttime thing than day.
Okay.
In Nairobi, I think I like Milan the best.
Milan. We've been there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know I've been there. I was trying to
Rachel, have we been there?
preach the gospel. Yeah, we've been there.
Yeah, we have, yeah. Oh, that one. Yes, we've been there.
Yeah.
Oh, it's really nice.
Were you preaching the gospel too?
Of course.
Right.
You don't never go out.
Okay. So now let's compare, because you said like in Brazil has a lot of people of black descent. That's the thing, that more of them went to Brazil, from the slavery to there than us. Mm-hmm. So you lived in Salvador Bahia. Mm-hmm. So it's like a hot spot for African culture. Mm-hmm. How did Salvador Bahia compare to being in like Tanzania or Kenya when you talked about like, African culture, blacks, feeling one of them, feeling safe? How did you feel in those 3 countries, in those cities? Like say Salvador, Nairobi, Dar.
If you want to talk about African culture in Salvador, it felt exactly like what it was, like a bunch of Africans in Brazil. It didn't feel like, it's so cultured here, I feel like I'm in Africa. It just felt like black people in Brazil. Not understand. So what? Repeat the question again?
Yeah. So like, did you feel like the people that were in Brazil were as authentically as African as what you've seen in Kenya or in? No,
they were very African, but they still had a lot of Brazil in them.
Okay.
A lot of the Hispanic.
Okay.
And Portuguese. Well, I guess it is Hispanic too, but they had that in them as well.
Okay.
And I would say, it's hard to say which one was blacker. I guess you could say which one had the most African.
Yeah. What did you feel more?
Tanzania had more African. I think Nairobi was more. It was more closer to American black.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they were still African, but there was so much of our stuff there. And you know, what is it, the Matutus with all of our rappers and stuff on there?
Yeah, Nairobi's big. Yeah, Tupac and all of that.
It made it seem like
Matatu.
Matatu. It made it seem like it was just Africans that really liked American black culture.
Okay,
and they kind of mixed the two.
You didn't get that in Salvador.
No. They didn't play any of our music in Salvador.
Okay,
no American music.
Did you feel like you would have to have maybe a more of, as far as an adjustment out of those places, which one do you feel like you need to make the biggest adjustment to fit into the society there?
It's in between Salvador and Dar es Salaam. For sure Salvador, because you had to learn a whole nother language. And you had to learn to deal and living in a dangerous area. It's not safe in Salvador. I mean, nothing ever happened to me, but if you're a fool, you'll get got there for 100% sure. I think in Dar, you had to be a dumbass to get robbed. I think if you got robbed there, at least in the areas I was at, it was your fault.
Okay.
So let's say you finally settle down and you have kids of your own.
He looked.
I'm saying when you finally settle, like it may happen in the future.
It will.
Okay, so let's say now you have a family, you have a wife, and you have kids. Which country would you say is more like family oriented? Which country would you take your family to settle in?
So far, Tanzania, Dar es Salaam, because it's the slowest I've been to, as far as in Africa.
What do you mean by slow?
Like I said, it's not as developed as Nairobi or Salvador. There's too much violence in Salvador. And I think I would be doing too much in Nairobi. I wouldn't be able to sit down too much.
What? Why do you say that?
It's too much to do, and there's too many women I like there.
So let me just say this, because obviously we're not a dating channel here, but for some of the people, Africa, well, it's now getting popular, right? Because people like you are shedding a light on your day-to-day things. A lot of brothers is getting excited. I've hosted people here that I thought I would never host before. And I think for some of the men out there is they feel like, okay, well, everybody looks the same way. Africa is poor. The women don't look very nice. And people don't know the diversity that you get in Kenya, Uganda, or Tanzania. And so a lot of guys don't know what they're missing out on as far as the beauty of the ladies there. What did you think before you came to the continent? What did you feel like the ladies were going to look like? And then when you got here, what did you actually see on the ground?
I think they looked exactly how I thought.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Now, people around me were saying stupid stuff like they went on the Google Maps and they walked around and looked at the women walking down the street, and all of them looked like they couldn't afford makeup or they didn't have on nice clothes. And I'm like, dude, like there's a rich class everywhere. I don't think their women look like these women with flies on their face and stuff. Like they try to make it seem. So I think they looked exactly how it looked, and I think at times they exceeded my expectations.
What about some of the misconceptions when you're growing up in Texas and in the Dallas-Fort Worth area that you were kind of taught about Africa that you found out was not true when you came here?
You'll get malaria. Everybody has HIV and they're poor and stupid. That's what they teach us.
It's very.
That's what they teach us.
Yeah,
that's just sad.
Yeah, it's very true.
When they show us Kenya, they show us the safari. They don't show us Nairobi.
Why do you think that is?
To keep the Africans suppressed so we can't take money over there and do what's going on right now.
What's going on right now in your opinion?
Like Americans, Chinese, Indians coming to, well, not so much Americans, but Chinese and Indians coming to build up the country. They want Americans to not do that.
Yeah.
In particular, against Black Americans.
For sure,
Why do you think that they don't want us to have a relationship with people in Africa?
The same reason they don't want us to have one back home, so that we can't rise up against them.
Wow. Did you feel the same kind of tension between maybe some of the people? I mean, like us, we're African Americans, but in Dallas, Fort Worth, did you feel like there was a growing tension between like us and the Nigerian Americans and some of the Caribbean Americans? And did you feel that?
Yeah, it's usually American blacks don't like Caribbeans and Africans back home.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And they teach us that Africans don't like us when we come here. But that's not true at all.
Not true at all. Did you have any issues with Africans when you coming up in Texas? Like,
no.
You didn't?
No.
Okay. And did you feel like somebody told you, like, don't go?
Yeah.
Don't come here? What about your mom? Because my mom used to tell me all the time, like, she used to beg and plead for me not to come here. She used to cry.
Really?
Oh, yeah, real tears.
She was like that for me for Brazil, and then once I started traveling around, I think she's pretty much comfortable with me going anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
So, but she felt that way about Brazil. But it's the same propaganda. You know?
So, you have a question?
No, it's okay. I'm saying that's just sad because I remember growing. I feel like what you're saying is true. Like them telling you about what Africa is or what it looks like, trying to stop you guys from coming here. It's true because I see so many white people who come over.
Right.
So many kids or like who come over for internships, for fellowships. They keep sending white people over. And then when we were kids, we used to have this thing called the pen pal system where you'd write to a white person to become friends with them. Mm-hmm. So it's not like when we're growing up, they also didn't tell us like, oh, there's someone with your skin color who you could actually befriend in the States or something like that. So you know what you're saying makes sense. Mm-hmm. Yeah, to an extent, yeah.
What opportunities, because, you know, I used to have a lot of brothers. Shout out to your brother Charles Tyler. He was from Philadelphia. Obviously, he passed. I believe Charles Tyler's show passed 2017. So I didn't get to Brazil before he passed. I got to Brazil a few months after he passed. And then at that time, I saw a lot of African-American men. You know, there was frustrated. What's the brother's name?
Al Grease.
Al Grease. You ever meet him before?
Yeah, I interviewed him.
Yeah, Al Grease, brother Al Grease. I've interviewed him, but I've never met him. So a lot of brothers was going to there. Now the new hotspot is Thailand. And now that you have come to Africa, you know, do you think that, or why do you think that a lot of African Americans are not coming to Africa? They're in Thailand, they're in DR, they're in Colombia, but we don't have so much of attraction of people coming back and doing things on the mother continent.
I've said this on my community post in a few of my videos. Not all, but a lot of those black dudes that travel don't like black women. And my donations in Thailand showed it, and the donations here show it.
Whoa, so you're saying, wait a minute. You're saying that you got more financial support.
When I had a Thai chick that dressed like a whore.
That's when they were sending the money.
Yeah.
And then when you came here.
When I came here, I got donations, but it didn't hit the same way. No.
The same way.
Yeah.
What about when you're in Brazil? Did you get more financial support when you're in Brazil?
Not as much as Thailand, but again, most of the women I dealt with in Brazil were black. And Salvador is a black city.
Okay.
Mostly black.
So do you think there's a level of self-hatred amongst African American men towards black women?
Yes.
Okay.
It's not the majority though.
Not the majority.
No.
Do you think this is going to be, you know, with you being here and maybe possibly, do you feel like you will live here?
Yes, for sure.
For sure.
For sure.
Why not? Why here and why not like you were fond of Colombia? You know, that was one of that was the place you really liked too. You've been there. Why not here or Colombia?
I think it's just I think I'm coming here. I like being around black people more. There's black people in Colombia too, but I think I just like being around all black people.
Why is that?
It's a comfort zone.
Mm-hmm.
It's a comfort zone. That's a really good question. Why is it? I don't know, but it just feels more natural.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Do you feel like you stand out because you are what somebody in America would call maybe like light skinned? Do people, you know, like know that you're not from here? When they see you, they know you're from somewhere else?
Yeah, when they see my tattoos, yeah.
Oh, the tattoos give it away.
In Tanzania, gave it away every time.
Okay. Now, do you feel like you get maybe, like how do you think people treat you in Tanzania because you have tattoos?
No, they like them.
They like them?
They love them.
Okay.
Do they like come up to you and like, oh, what does that mean or something like that?
Yeah. They compliment them and ask them what they mean.
Oh.
Yeah.
It's a good conversation starter. I mean, oh, what do your tattoos mean or something like that?
Really?
I'm just saying.
Is that what you do for guys that have tattoos?
No, I'm just saying.
You don't want to talk about it?
No.
You sure?
Off topic.
Hey. So ultimately, between Tanzania and Kenya, you're leading towards Kenya. Infrastructure. I know you've only been to Nairobi and Dar. Well, what are some of the things, other things that you saw in Nairobi, the day-to-day life, besides the roads and things that you thought that were more efficient for you to say that I would love to live in Nairobi over any other city that I've been to?
I got scammed a lot less. I actually don't think I got scammed at all in Nairobi, but it was a constant stand up for yourself type of thing in Dar. Constantly.
Give me an example.
They never have change.
Oh, that's a great one.
You show them on the app, like it says 400 shillings to go here, but he wants 800. I'm like, why would you? It's the same shit. Like
same thing happened here in Uganda too.
Yeah, but that didn't happen in Nairobi.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the development makes less people like that.
Yeah, because that definitely happens. Now you're saying also. Now I know Tanzania has a port. Where's their port? They have a port like Kenya has a port. I'm pretty sure they're not landlocked. Is Tanzania landlocked?
No, it's not.
No,
it's
not.
next to the ocean.
So in comparisons to Uganda, I noticed that when I'm in Kenya, and maybe you'll notice if you could, because they have Carrefour in Kenya and then you have Carrefour in Uganda. One of the things I noticed is that in Kenya, I was talking to Dr. Ronald Neal, shout out to him. When you go to Carrefour, everything is there. Remember you went there, you were like a kid in a candy store.
Yeah, I was so excited.
Yeah, when we were in Lagos, me and Rachel were there. Everything that you need is there.
Yeah.
Chicken. I mean, in America, we don't worry about that kind of stuff. But here and overseas, you have a plethora of things that's in the grocery store. Yeah. Whereas, in Uganda, you like working, and I think Tanzania probably wouldn't have that issue. Mm-hmm. But in Kenya, you're going to get a better price. Your money the value for money is so much better. And I'm not hating on Uganda because I love Uganda.
I think it's the limited, there's no variety of brands.
Yes.
When you compare it to Kenya.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And then also you get more value for your money. I was telling Auston, like if you want to live in Kiloleshwa and you compare it to Kololo is like almost 4 times the amount of money to live in. Mm-hmm. And it's 4 times less developed than Kiloleshwa.
Yep.
When you hit the Uber button, the guy is there like right away, like in Nairobi. Yes. Uganda? Oliwa! That means where are you?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So the guy's asking you, where you at? How'd I get there? You argue with the guy. Can you give me directions here? And when I look at, and then if you want to even travel within the country, like I know you didn't go to Mombasa, but let's say if you want to go to Nairobi to Mombasa, you can take the train there, the SGR, I think, or you can take the Kenyan Airways to Mombasa, like $40-$50.
And Jumbo Jet.
Yeah. If you try to do this to Arua, which is in the north, you will spend you would spend more money you spend less money going to Dubai from here than just somewhere in this country.
Really?
Yeah.
By air.
By air.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
So, and when I look at Nairobi, and people don't like it when I say that, but it just has so much more. And Tanzania is catching up, I think. But when you look at what Nairobi has to offer, the internet speed is all throughout the country. You look at, it's still democratic, good international schools, good neighborhoods. The value for the money is definitely there. You get good value. You have a good everything going on in Nairobi. It's a great city, especially for Americans. But what do you plan on if you were to live in Kenya? What do you plan on doing as Auston Holleman? What will be some of your goals outside of YouTube that you would want to get into?
I've always wanted to start Airbnbs in another country.
Okay.
Always, and I'm working on that in Tanzania now. But for sure, in Nairobi, I want to do that. So that'd be my main goal.
Okay.
For sure. I wouldn't start a family there.
In Nairobi?
No.
You just...
I need to travel around Kenya first.
But Kenya is, even when you go to the other areas, it's developed too. When you go to Eldoret, Kisumu, it looks better.
Yeah.
Really? It looks better?
Better.
Oh, yeah.
Well, not better than Nairobi, like better than Kampala or something. It's a reach, but it looks good. It's like a well-developed
Ugandans
town.
will come for you. So...
If they can fly me out, let them go.
Yeah.
I was just saying.
So, but overall, have people been asking you about like, advice about coming to Africa since you've been coming here? How has your channel changed since you come to Tanzania and come to Kenya? How has you've seen people respond to you?
The anti-black women haters have shown themselves, and most of them have left by now. So it's a lot more positive, and there's a lot less incel comments and negative comments about black women. I've never said anything about black women in my videos. That's why I always said American women. For some reason, black people in America think that they're the only ones, so they thought I was talking about black women.
Okay.
But yeah, it's a lot more positive now that I've been here. And a lot more people are fascinated to see that they have running water and electricity in Africa.
Yeah, imagine.
How does it feel like a person that you were cutting hair in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, and, just like 2 years ago, when did you take your first trip to overseas?
February 2022.
Oh.
That was your first trip ever? Now, how does it feel like that you're now possibly changing the narrative? Did you ever think that you would be doing this in Africa? That you would ever thought that you would be coming to these places, showing off the great things about Africa, the culture, and you would be meeting all these people that you didn't know that could help you on your journey?
Absolutely not.
What now, as an American, your life has changed dramatically in the last 15 months.
Yeah.
What would you tell people, and you've been extensively working a lot with a lot of black people, how is your perception about working with black people since you've been on this, entrepreneurial role, this journey in the last 15 months, comparisons to how you thought, and compared to how you thought about it before?
It's a lot easier, and we can be a lot more professional than I thought before. Because a lot of the stereotypes that we have, which is not always false in the United States, the people that I've met in the last 15 months have been able to compete with the whites in the United States,
right?
As far as professionalism and promptness.
Do you think that you have faith in that you can work with black people from now on, being at what you've experienced in this last 15 months?
Yes, absolutely. A lot more confidence than I did before.
But before you were not confident in it?
I just thought it'd be a lot of hurdles, but it could be done, but it wouldn't. I believed a lot of the stereotypes that we have on ourselves.
What would you tell the people who have seen, your life transform? I mean, doing great financially and everything, and going to all these places. How many countries have you been to now? 9 in 15 months. I'll think I'll be in the 9 total. So what would you tell somebody that would like to do, take a chance and experience something different? Because you were doing pretty good as a barber. You're one of the better barbers, you said, in your area, right? Mm-hmm. So to leave that to do this, how would you tell somebody, what advice would you give somebody that wants to do something similar, or just to have faith in working with other blacks to achieve something, a greater goal?
What advice would I give somebody that wanted to do something similar and work with other blacks?
Yeah, like you've been doing.
It's a really hard question.
Well, I asked the tough ones.
Something similar. I mean, if you want to...
Let's just say not even YouTube or something like that.
Okay.
But let's just say, for example, they want to come to the motherland. They'd like to connect. They would want to connect with people. They want to meet new people, take a risk and put themselves out there like you did.
You have to be able to think for yourself.
Okay.
And be willing to find out things for yourself. Because I had some people that didn't come to Africa with me because they said terrorists were so many miles away.
Whoa.
Yeah. And they claimed it was, I mean, I'm not saying it's not all over Africa, but they claimed that anywhere you go in Africa, there's just a chance that I guess the place might blow up or something like that. Or somebody coming to the mall shooting. When that happens, that happens in the States a lot. So I think being from the United States, there's nothing to be scared of.
Okay, that's a great point. In Texas, your home state has been having a lot of that shit going on in the last year.
Yeah, the last one was 15 minutes from where I live. So
is it Allen? Yeah.
Yeah, Allen. Yeah. So about 15 minutes.
Okay. All right, man. I think you've answered all the questions that I had. Anything you want to say or
tell the people?
I hate this question. Like I said before, everybody should just be able to think for themselves and continue to follow my journey, because I'm here to give my honest opinion and show what's honestly going on, whether if it's good or bad, whoever it pisses off. That's my job, to just tell the truth on my channel.
Okay.
And he does that in a very explicit way.
Okay. Tell people where they can find you.
You can find me on all platforms: Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, Facebook at Auston Holleman.
Perfect. O'Shea?
Don't message me. I'm not hosting nobody else. Auston was the last one. Okay, until I got Jay Shine in December. So I'm glad the brother came, and we've been having a good time here, and he'll be on the dating show, guys. So that's gonna be, Auston is gonna have something that Auston is gonna swing the bat in a way that's possibly gonna go viral on YouTube. So we looking for that, because Auston gonna say something that he probably shouldn't say. But that's Auston Holleman. So I'm glad to have him here. I mean, I've got to see him grow in the last 15 months, 16 months. He's been doing an amazing job. I've seen him just completely shift and grow in the business. And I wouldn't never think that this guy, I met him like, yo, he's going to do some stuff in Africa. But, yo, this is what he's doing. He's doing some great stuff, getting hella views. And I think he has a great future in this business and telling them a story that unites our people. I think he's going to be probably one of the biggest YouTubers in this sector in the next year. So we'll see if he can keep it up.
Yeah. Perfect. Well said. Well, thank you so much for coming onto our podcast. Guys, do follow him. Check out his YouTube channel and his socials. Also check out our social media pages at Kinganda Nation. We'll see you guys next time.
Thanks for having me.